Majujan Nad and Juanito in Akumal, Mexico. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, Sunday, Domingo, the Lord's Day, and I've got the whole day on my hands. I got turned away from the emergency room in Playa del Carmen yesterday, and they said come back on Monday, and then you can see the urologist. I may have real serious condition going on with my prostate. 7 hospitalizations in the last month. But they turned me away. So I go back tomorrow. And that epically difficult day ended with a miraculous ending where at 9 o'clock at night, my friend Marcos, my landlord who built this little tiny house, and is my good friend, he and his family at 11 o'clock at night came to Playa del Carmen and kept me from spending the night on the street, which I was getting ready for. So I described in another video how I was a little over chatty in the way home because I wasn't in a good mood. And they weren't in a bad mood, but they're just kind of introverted. And here's a story I shared with Marcos that sometimes humor doesn't translate. And he didn't know why I found this story funny, but I do. And so classically Mexican. I've been here 2 years. One of the things people like to say about Mexicans are that while they are warm and friendly, way more inclusive than the average gringo, that they don't feel like you have to say hi to people. In the little pueblo of El Diamante, 400 people, yeah, it was like a town rule. If that town had rules, one rule would be you always greet everybody on the street, but that's not the usual Mexican way. I hang out in the lovely Parque Akumal right at the center of the Centro downtown and see iguanas there, and it's a happy place for me. And there's a guy about my age, probably younger, a little younger, who runs a shop over there, and I think he lives behind the shop. I always see him. And for months, he didn't greet me at all, but now he greets me, and if he sees that my pack of cigarettes is out, he'll indicate he wants a cigarette, and I'm always glad to give him a smoke. 3 mornings ago, I was busted. In the U.S., you can no longer buy a loose cigarette. 20 years ago, you could. But one of the ways the right wing is right about Big Brother is that CDC tries to legislate people's health in a way that in Mexico you could never get away with. You can't tell people that they can't buy a single cigarette because that encourages them to smoke. Really, what that does in the U.S., it means that poor people have to buy a pack of cigarettes, which makes them poorer, which makes them buy cheaper cigarettes. So all through Mexico, any little tienda will sell you a loose cigarette. So I had bought one cigarette for 10 pesos, and I had a Coke, and I had my cigarette lighter. And I very ceremonially, on the back of the bench where I was about to sit, I had put the cigarette lighter. I don't have any pre-rolled cigarettes today, and I had a Coke. And I was examining that, and this old guy, whose name I probably never will know, comes up and points out how swollen my feet are. And I said, yeah, I'm going to have to have that looked at. It's clearly to do with my renal failure. So he looked at my little sculpture I had made with my Coke and my cigarette lighter and the cigarette. So he just silently took the cigarette and lit it and walked off with my cigarette. And I just went, that's hysterical. That's hysterical. That's the funniest thing I've seen all day. he just stole my one fucking cigarette. I thought it was a riot. But next, I laugh at a lot of things. I laugh at a lot of things, and Mexicans do generally too. Okay.